down.
Jesus.
Here, do this. You're stronger than me.
Yeah.
Well, because the genetics didn't distribute evenly. What movie you got for us?
It's a blockbuster.
Let's hear it.
Dying to Belong.
Nice. That's going to be so good. Okay, who's in it?
Who isn't in it?
Who isn't in it? Okay.
Hilary Swank. Jenna Von Oy.
I don't know who that is.
Wasn't she in?
I know.
Remember
Hilary
that
Swank.
show Blossom? She was Blossom's friend.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I know who that is.
Sarah Chalky or Calky or however you say her name. I'm not sure, but if you saw her, you would know who she is.
Okay.
And are you ready?
I don't know.
Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
Ah! Shut the front door.
Also known as Mark Paul Gosselaar, I think is how you pronounce his name.
That sounds incredibly fancy.
Mark Paul.
We'll just say Mark
also
Paul.
known as Zach Morris. I may refer to him as Zach Morris, and it's only because that's all I know him
Let's just do Zach Morris.
Sorry, Zach Morris.
And just don't sue us.
Mark Paul.
Mark Paul.
He played a guy named Steven in the movie. So
okay, got it.
Anyway, so Hilary Swank is getting dropped off at college by her mom. They're in like a swanky Mercedes convertible. She's just dropping her off. And she only has like 2 duffel bags. How much shit did you take with you to college?
I had
like a living room suite
I did.
Or whatever it is.
It was pink and metal and glass on sale at a discount store, but I did have one.
So she lived in the dorms, which I guess was why you only need but I still feel like you would have like a coffee maker, maybe.
I don't know. I never
now I'm sure all the kids now have Keurigs, and toaster ovens. Those kids that are fortunate enough to go to college these days.
It is expensive.
Anyway. So she's dropping her off and they're like saying bye or whatever. And then the mom's like, hey, wait a minute. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I wanted to give you this. And she gives her a pin. It's a sorority pin for the Pi Gams. Pi Gamma Beta, to be exact. But we'll just call them the Pi Gams.
Okay.
Anyway. But I totally got ahead of myself because the beginning of the movie is like a montage, like most of the cheesy movies start out with.
And they do.
There's bitches in cloaks.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about these people in cloaks before.
There's so many people in cloaks.
There's people in cloaks. There's candles. There's people walking around with candles. There's a bowl of water. There's a rose.
There's always a bowl of water.
There's a velveteen fold over like thing, and people like you take out this needle and you shove it in your finger and you drip the blood onto the flower in the bowl of water.
That doesn't sound hygienic.
And then there's a girl getting dropped off in the middle of the woods and she's screaming about not having her medicine, and then somebody tries to run her over with a car.
What college is this exactly?
I don't know. Okay. Anyway,
that sounds pretty freaking creepy.
Well, Hilary Swank gets in the dorms with her 2 duffel bags and she meets her new roommate. And her roommate is not what Hilary Swank is. So let's keep in mind, like, Hilary Swank got dropped off in a convertible Mercedes.
Okay. So why is the roommate different?
She's got blue hair and she's listening to punk music and she's dancing in the dorm room all by herself.
I do that sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get it. Hilary Swank seems a little overwhelmed.
It's a big day. It's your first day of college.
I mean, she's in like sweaters with a bob cut, and she
wasn't ready for the punk rocking dance by yourself check.
It's college.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's new. It's an adventure.
So she's a little, she looks a little stressed out.
Yeah.
But the punk girl seemed so nice.
Yeah, I think I would have been okay with that.
I think Hillary Swank, should have really gave her a little bit more credit. So Hillary Swank was waiting in line to do class stuff, which I don't ever remember doing. Because I would check the boxes and I would just send it in, and then I would just not go to the class.
Right. For those of us who did go to class and had to do a bunch of stuff, I waited for hours.
I never did that.
Hours in line for classes, for financial aid. I mean,
no.
I aged 20 years.
I didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I never got financial aid.
What?
I worked and I just paid cash.
I worked
full time.
Hopefully the IRS isn't watching this. Is watching you add cash. Let's not even go down that road.
So anyway. So she's waiting in line, and then the people were like, we're going to lunch, and they shut down the line. Jenna Von Oy gets in line, and she's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting like all day, and this, that, and the other. And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And they had like this moment. And then Hillary Swank pulls a sandwich out of her purse and was like, are you hungry?
Like a big sandwich?
It's like a sandwich.
Like a regular sandwich?
It was enough to share.
Like a Ziploc bag sandwich?
It was bigger than a Ziploc bag. It wasn't like a hoagie or anything, but it was pretty big.
But here's my thought. Prepared.
Right. But here's my thought.
What?
She came with 2 friggin' duffel bags with like shoes and shit in it. Where are you putting the sandwich? Where'd the sandwich come from? You're telling me that I'm eating a sandwich that's been next to like shoes?
But she didn't know that it was next to her shoes.
Who, Jenna Von Oy?
Yes.
Oh.
She was hungry. She's a college student. And you should always travel with a sandwich. It's like an emergency sandwich.
Yeah.
Another thing for the life book that you're writing. That's true. You should always have an emergency sandwich.
So they share this emergency sandwich. And then they've decided and then they're talking and they're like, oh, my roommate's so horrible. And she's like, yeah, my roommate is so horrible. And then they come up with this grand scheme where they go back to Punk Girl and they tell.
Is she still dancing?
Probably.
She should be.
Punk Girl was like, what's going on? And like they show up in the dorm room together and they're like, we've been friends forever. We're Girl Scouts. And the Punk Girl's like, you freaking Girl Scouts in college?
Can you be a Girl Scout?
But she's punk, so she hates Girl Scouts.
So she doesn't even ask any additional questions.
No,
she's like, I'm out of here.
She grabs her shit and she leaves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But here's my thing too.
I don't really blame
She's
her.
been there. She was there before Hillary Swank got there.
That doesn't seem fair.
And she wasn't even unpacked.
What was she doing?
She was dancing like the whole time.
Sometimes you just have to dance. Mm-hmm. I mean, it like comes over you. Maybe that's her coping. That's a big deal going to school. She had to dance. She grabbed her stuff and probably became homeless.
So Jenna Von Oy and Hillary Swank become roommates.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when we went to school, if you were living in a dorm, you just couldn't switch roommates.
Yeah, I don't know. I never lived in a
different
dorm.
Seat on a plane. Like they just don't let you do that.
You're supposed to live in a dorm. But
we never did
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't be stuck in this little baby room with like somebody else. Like that just leads to so many problems.
Ugh, people suck. Yeah. Anyway, so Jenna Von Oy wants to pledge It's a pretty big deal for her. And so
Like to a sorority?
right.
Okay.
I learned all kinds of stuff about sororities watching this.
I bet you did.
Because I don't really know anything about it. I made it through I was there for a lot longer than you. My entire
You're 2 years younger.
Yeah. My entire almost 6 years at WVU without ever going to a frat party.
Okay, I have to say, my freshman year.
Oh, so you didn't know any better.
My freshman year, somebody asked me if I was going Greek. I was very confused.
Also means pledge, right?
It did, but I didn't know it at the time. And so I said, I already am Greek. I don't understand. Hello. What do you mean go Greek? Like you either are Greek or you're not.
Right.
It's genetic.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about it. You can't become Greek.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I was super confused.
I know. So they go and it's one of their first nights there, and they put on, this is 1997. So they had some like high-waisted jeans on, even though that's like a thing now too. And some half sweaters. I think that's a thing now too, though.
Half sweaters?
Like the sweaters that come like right here in the high waist, and there's like
It just seems like you'd be really
this
cold.
much rib cage showing. Yeah, it was fall. There were like leaves falling. Anyway, so they walk down frat row, and like Jenna Bonaway is just all like, "Oh, it's like the best thing ever. Blah blah blah. It's gonna be such a great year." Anyway, so Hillary Swank really wasn't into the whole. She wanted to sign on the school paper.
She had other aspirations.
Right. She was apparently on the school paper in high school, and she wants to do it in college too.
Right.
She even landed herself a job on the college school paper, right next to Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Zach Morris.
Mark Paul. Steven.
I never had a crush on Zach Morris.
No, I don't like blondes.
I don't either. No
Sorry.
offense. Sorry.
You're just...
We like the darker haired men.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so she lands herself in Zach Morris. Zach Morris kind of thinks she's swanky.
Yeah, she is.
Right? Because she's Hillary Swank. See what I did there?
You are so funny.
Zach Morris has his eye on her, and like he's riding so he met her there at the paper, but then like a couple days later,
they have this connection already.
Total connection, like locked eyes, like the whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah.
He's riding his bike.
Hormones,
so
pheromones.
Eco-conscious, this guy, riding bikes.
That's early to be that way.
I know. But he's a journalist at a paper, so he's very, he probably has liberalistic views.
What about all the paper? If he was legit, he wouldn't believe in paper.
Even be there. So he's riding his bike along, and then when he's riding his bike along, he sees Hillary Swank like going to class or whatever. Yeah, she's on her way to class. And then all of a sudden in the movie, you hear this background music. Like when he starts talking to her.
Oh, really?
And you hear it throughout the entire movie anytime they get together, like
there's
hanging out.
There's freaking music in the background?
Mm-hmm. Like a life soundtrack.
So good.
And damn, I wish I was your lover. You remember that song?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That is so good.
Anyway, so while that's playing in the background, he follows her into class and like talking to her about some like guy that's coming, that's like an author or whatever.
Just trying
do you want to go
talk to her?
Do you want to go hear him speak with me? And she's like, you mean like you're asking me out? And he was like, well, yeah, or whatever. And she says yes. And then he trips over some shit. And then everyone's laughing at him, and he looks all cute. And she's like, oh. And then they go out and they have ice cream. And
he's so clumsy.
Yeah, so cute. He's blonde. Anyway.
I'm sure he's very nice.
Okay. So Pledging wasn't a big deal for her, but she promised Jenna Von Oy that she would go and do, I guess that's what pledging is you go and you visit these places.
That's what I hear.
So you go and you visit.
Yeah, they're like these houses.
Yeah, houses.
Or something.
So they go to like all these different houses, and each house is kind of like a stereotype. Like they go and visit one, and this one girl's like, we're really into community service, and we really want to do this for the community. And she talks real like whatever. What is it? Breathy. Right?
Oh,
and then the
breathy.
next house comes, and they're like super into like something else, and the next house comes and blah, blah, blah. And Hilary Swank is not excited about it at all. She's like, this is dumb.
It sounds like extended high school.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so they get to the Pi Gam house, and the Pi Gam house is like, come in. And she is just like, yeah, my mom was a Pi Gam. She's like, oh, we know. She called. She called ahead of time and said that they were going to be expecting Hilary Swank.
So she already has the in.
Right. They give her like the full tour.
Ooh.
They take her upstairs.
She goes upstairs.
They show her their mom's old room, pictures of her mom when she was a Pi Gam and all the things. And then Hilary Swank makes a comment because they keep calling each other sisters and family. And she's all like, I don't know. I'm just not really into the whole like family. I kind of have a hard time with that because my dad left my mom and I when I was really young and this, that, and the other. And they're like, and she's like, don't worry. With us, your family, we'll do anything for you kind of thing. But here's the kicker.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So are you trying to say not only are they not Greek, I mean, these people are saying they're Greek and they're sisters?
Yeah.
Both
like us.
Lies.
And you're paying them.
I know. I mean, we're like for reals Greek and for real sisters. So, but people are paying to be able to say this.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I just wanted to confirm that that's where you were going with it.
So Jenna Von Oy is downstairs in the house while Hilary Swank is upstairs.
She's
and no
not
one's
allowed
paying any
upstairs?
attention to her. No, she's not a legacy. A legacy is someone who is the daughter of someone that was in the whatever sorority. A legacy.
That sounds like a lot of pressure to me.
I mean, I hope to one day leave a legacy, but not like that.
Okay, so because her mom was in this sorority, she's like an A-lister.
Right.
Okay.
She gets like to the top of the whatever.
But she's not sisters with anybody, and she's not actually Greek.
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Mm-hmm. So Jenna Von Oy is she's kind of set back. She's kind of feeling bad about herself because she doesn't get that.
She's got some.
So when after they get home, she's kind of like, they're not going to take me. They're not going to, and then Hilary Swank's all like, I'm not doing this without you. And if they don't take me or if they don't take you, then I'm not going. And she like swears right there that if she doesn't get into a sorority, then she's not going either.
Because they shared a sandwich.
Exactly. Next to some shoes.
Anyway, that makes sense.
So they get a bid to be in the Pi Gams?
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
That means that you get to be put through hell.
On purpose.
Right.
Okay.
So you get a bid.
Yeah, I mean, let's just keep going down the this makes no sense road.
Right, you get a bid and then they pick you up in the middle of the night, they throw you in a van, they abduct you, and then you have to put like a cloak on.
And you pay them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all those things. Anyway, so Hell Week apparently begins. And you are you're literally just walking along the side of the road and you get like some shit thrown over your head and you get thrown into the back of a van.
Yeah.
And then you get taken somewhere.
That sounds horrific.
So anyway, so you go to this place and you have to pledge like a chant or like something.
Cultish?
And it's all kind of. And it's all about unity and trust and commitment and all these things.
That sounds like a cult.
Yeah. So Hillary Swank's going through Hell Week. She's been seeing Zach Morris. She hasn't been seeing Zach Morris as much.
She's busy.
Because she's busy getting abducted.
Right. And that is
things.
Like a full-time job.
And Zach Morris gets really upset. And she's like, I'm so sorry, this, that, and the other. And she just doesn't, like, she doesn't know how to handle the life of Hell Week and the journalism thing and whatever. It's a very stressful time.
It's a lot.
And Jenna Von Oy is all in. We're talking about stripping down into nothing but a bikini and parading yourself on a dining room table while your Greek sisters take a Sharpie and they circle all of your, like, fatty parts.
Your fatty parts?
Yeah, and then they tell you all the things that's wrong with you and your body, and they totally, like, try to, like, bring you to tears.
That sounds like real family.
Right.
Actually.
And it's at some point they take you into, like, some kind of dungeon place. And then there's this one girl, the Sarah Chalky girl, also known as Drea. She walks along and she tells you to open your mouth, and you're blindfolded, and they take broken eggshells and they put them in your mouth and they tell you that they're glass. And if you're one of them, you'll chew that shit up.
That's disgusting.
Think about it. If somebody took an egg and cracked it in half and put it in your mouth, it would feel like glass. It would feel like the edges of glass.
I've never personally done that.
We should try that.
We should.
I'd like to sterilize the egg, though, so we don't get salmonella.
Yeah, like, this whole thing seems like a disease waiting to happen.
Jenna Von Oy eats the shit out of that eggshell.
She does. She devours that thing like it's nobody's business.
And so does Hillary Swank. But there's a third pledge that spits it out because she was really worried about it. But they keep her around because her dad has a cabin.
You know, you should really have at least one friend that has a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. I mean,
agree.
You know, but though, if I was the friend with the cabin, I would always wonder, like, do they like me?
Or do they just like my cabin?
Or do they want the cabin?
Well, in this case, they were basically just keeping her around for the cabin.
Yeah. It sounds pretty clear.
Anyway, so there's talk of hazing because Hillary Swank has been missing in action from boyfriend Steve.
I would say this qualifies as hazing.
And Steve's like, I don't like this. There's been hazing. There's been records of a girl.
He's got morals.
He talks about this girl that went missing. And then they never found her again after she went missing. And she was pledging to one of the fraternities, and how the fraternity or the sororities and how they've tried to, like, sweep it under the rug and no one ever heard from her again and all this stuff.
He's
like, Hillary Swank, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. You're hiding from people because she doesn't want to get thrown into a van.
Sounds like there's trouble in paradise.
I know. Anyway. There's the night that they were, like, circling all the fatty parts of the people.
Yeah, that's gross.
They also were drinking a lot.
Right.
So Jenna Von Oy and two of the Greek sisters go to the top of this building or whatever, and they make Jenna Von Oy try to hang a flag from the side of the building, but she legit, like, has to get over onto like the edge or whatever. I don't even know.
Oh my gosh.
The ledge. That's a good.
And these are supposed to be her friends?
And she has to hang this Pi Gam flag or whatever. And she gets up there and she's flipping her crap because she's scared of heights.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And if anybody knows Jenna Von Oy, she talks like really fast or whatever. And she's like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, but she does it anyway because she wants to be a part of it.
She's committed.
So bad. Unity, trust. Anyway, so they were sitting there and they're egging her on to hang the thing. So she hangs the thing and she falls off the damn building and then falls to her death, cracks her head open, and everyone's down there in the courtyard or whatever. And everyone just sees her die. And then Hilary Swank was planting flags. It's a thing. They put flags in the grass.
I don't know anything about this.
If you're a sorority or a fraternity person and you know something about this, I'm not, comment below because I have no idea what planting flags
would do for you. No clue. I do know. What was that? Was it High Street?
Yeah.
The top of High Street?
That's where they were.
Fraternities?
Frat row was.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember that they had this, one of them had this little cannon, and they would shoot the cannon.
Like a cannonball?
Yes, it seemed dangerous, for sure.
Yeah, there's a jillion students there.
Yeah, and so they shot cannons, and I planted flags, maybe? I don't know, but educate us.
It sounds like it would go together.
We're open to it.
Pirates like flags and cannons.
Pirates do have flags.
But we were the mountaineers.
Yeah.
We didn't have cannons. We had those, like that gun thing. It was like a shotgun thing.
It's like a giant gun.
A muzzle loader.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I never went to any games. I was too busy studying.
Really?
No, I did go to one game, and it was, remember, they used to call it the Pit.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where everybody would party, before the football games.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. And then I went to the Pit, one time, and I didn't really fit in there. I know, hard to believe. But then I never went back because guess what? They closed the Pit down.
It's open again.
Really? Maybe we need to go back.
I'm going to have to ask somebody. Anyway,
sorry.
So Jenna Von Oy's dead. Her head is cracked open. Everybody sees it. Hilary Swank saw it. She's freaking out that her friend is dead.
That's traumatic.
So she starts to doubt things that are going on at the sorority. And Zach Morris is in her ear because of the whole hazing incident from before.
Well, I would think that seeing your best friend die in front of you and then have your boyfriend let you know that hazing is wrong could plant a seed.
So she just doesn't want to believe that the sorority sisters would have anything to do with Jenna Von Oy's death.
Because they're real sisters.
So she goes and she stays at the sorority house for a few days. And they comfort her. And,
they brush her hair, probably.
I mean, do they do pillow fights? Is it like the Playboy Mansion kind of thing?
That's what they say.
Huh. Anyway. So they comfort her, and they're getting in her head, and there's no way that my sorority sisters could ever hurt any of my friends.
Wow, that goes deep.
So Jenna Von Oy's funeral comes around, and she actually meets Jenna Von Oy's parents.
Oh.
Her dad says, I don't understand what she would have been up there in the first place, and it's because she had a fear of heights that was just insane. And Hilary Swank is just like, I don't understand why she would do that then. And so she goes back to questioning whatever. So anyway, so she's hanging out with the sorority. She still hasn't been accepted into the sorority yet. I guess you have to go through Hell Week and then they decide whether or not they want to keep you.
That makes sense.
So,
that you'd sign up for something like that.
Right. And she's still seeing Zach Morris and all that good thing. And damn, I wish I was your lover is still playing. Every once in a while, that montage comes back of somebody shoving a needle in their finger. and dripping it on a rose.
That just,
in a bowl
yeah,
of water.
that sounds like a tetanus nightmare.
But it came out of velvet, like a velvet.
You know what?
Like,
All because something comes out of velvet doesn't mean it's the right thing.
Elvis liked velvet.
He did. Have you ever gone to Graceland?
No, I haven't.
I did go actually one time, and I had, what is that, a peanut butter banana sandwich in his honor.
I wonder if they have it in gluten-free now. I would eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach Morris decides he's going to look into a little bit more. He's going to get inside Hillary's head. Hillary wants nothing to do with Zach Morris now. Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Because he has nothing good to say about her sorority. Everything's going really well with the sorority, all that good stuff. She gets called in to the dean's office, and then the dean was like, she's like, yeah, I understand why I'm here. You want to talk about this? And she's like, I just wanted to let you know that there's people here to talk to you or whatever. And that's it. And she's like, you don't want to talk to me about my friend? And she goes, you don't really want to know what happened if you're not going to ask anybody questions. And she was like, we already know what happened. And so everyone's like brushing it.
It sounds like a conspiracy.
Right. Everybody's brushing it under the rug, just like Zach Morris said that the first hazing incident from like the following.
Let me just say, it seems like Zach Morris is always right. Mm-hmm. Like if he's saying something, you need to listen.
Right. So Zach Morris writes an article for the paper about hazing and the new death of this girl and not being able to find the other girl and all the things. And it got published.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of blows it out of the water for these Greek people, for these Greek non-Greeks.
The fake Greek people.
Right. So Zach Morris and Hillary Swank are walking along one night, and all of a sudden someone comes out of nowhere and busts Zach Morris in the face and puts him in a van and like drives off with it. Because the artist busted up his car, they busted up his face. I mean, Zach Morris is blonde, so
that's true.
Okay, but like, I mean, it's his moneymaker. He's, you know, that's
right.
why
he's got to keep the face
right.
pretty.
So he goes and he reports it to the police, and he starts to talking to the detective about all the stuff that's going on. And then Hillary Swank came to his rescue at the police station.
So she's perhaps
still interested.
Turning around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they get to talking, and then the detective also shares thoughts about how he doesn't think that Jenna Von Oy's death was an accident. Mm-hmm. And he starts to go question all the sororities and all the other things because it's kind of like blown out of the water now and all the things. And Hillary Swank starts to say things to her sisters and starts to question them, and they don't like it one bit.
No.
So they're all sitting around a coffee shop one day, and she goes in and she's like, why can't you just tell me? Why can't you just tell me what happened to Jenna Von Oy? And they're like, we didn't want you to know what really happened because she just wanted to be as good of a pledge as you are.
Ooh, mind games.
So they're like, it's your fault because she wanted to be as good as you.
So they blame her?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
They blame
like
her for
masters.
Jenna wanting to do or to go the extra mile. And like, so Hillary Swank is just, her head is so screwed up.
Oh my gosh. That would be a lot of thinking.
It's a lot of thinking.
Which no one should do.
So anyway, so they get the information because Zach Morris is such a good journalist. They get the information on the girl from the original hazing incident. He goes through an internet database.
He's like an investigative journalist.
But it's all, it looks like it was on a Commodore 64 because it's 1997.
And he's printing it out probably on a dot matrix.
It's a dot matrix printer.
A dot matrix printer, and it takes like 5 years.
He and Hillary Swank find her. They go to her apartment, and they found out that the school paid her off to not talk about the fact that she was pledging for a sorority and they tried to kill her.
The dean is dirty.
So dirty. Anyway, so Hilary Swank calls the sorority sisters to the very place where the cloak, water, blood dripping needle thing happens.
Rose thing, too. Don't forget the rose.
Oh, the rose in the bowl of the water.
Right.
And she says, I have so-and-so with me. I need you to come. And that's the girl that they
paid off.
And they're like, no way. No way do you have her. And they show up. Because
they're interested. They're intrigued.
There's no way that how could she find out?
They paid her off.
Right. And she has one of those voice recorders. Do you remember those? People used to take them to class.
Oh, yeah.
Like that big.
I carry one with me always.
Right. And she hits record and she gets them to admit to the fact that they hazed that girl and that they almost killed her with their car and all the other things and blah, blah, blah.
She's so savvy.
So that night, after that happened, Hilary Swank once again gets abducted.
You know, if you've been abducted once, your chances of going up, astronomical to be abducted again.
And I feel like it just becomes normal at that point.
I don't know.
I don't think you're just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's not surprising anymore.
Right. So just like the girl from the beginning of the movie, the flashback, as much as these movies do often start.
They do, yeah.
Lots of flashbacks. They throw her out in the middle of the woods, except this time the fraternity boys threw her down into a ravine. I think that's the correct word for it. It's kind of like a creek at the bottom of like a hill.
I think that's a ravine.
Like a valley.
I'm not a geologist.
You're definitely.
Or is that a forestry major?
A geologist is a person that studies rocks.
And I got the highest grade in geology in college, by the way.
Did you take geology?
I did.
You only took geology to meet forestry majors.
I got the highest grade.
Well, yeah, everyone was high.
No, like legit, I got the highest. No, I wasn't high. I didn't.
No, I'm saying you weren't high, but everyone in that class was high. No one that took geology was sober.
I think that's true.
Any forestry major at WU at that point in time was high 24 hours a day. I'm just saying. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were really taking it seriously. But we all know that you were just taking those agricultural classes and all that other stuff just to grow grass. We know it.
I didn't ever.
Not you.
Smoke anything.
You went there to meet guys like that.
It was a time of insecurity. It's, we all have to go through our trials.
Anyway, Hilary Swank is thrown down into a ravine.
That doesn't sound legal.
And Zach Morris comes to find her in his 1993 Toyota Celica, which was a great flashback. I haven't seen one of those in a really long time.
That's not a bad car.
And he's just like, oh my God, I know. He's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I found you and blah, blah, blah. And he takes her and he puts a blanket around her and he puts her in the car.
It creates an intense connection when you're thrown into a ravine.
Yeah, it was foggy.
Rescued.
Yeah. He's like honking the horn while he was looking for her. So it cuts to all the sororities and the fraternities, all these kids that are coming out, and they're all have their shit packed and they're all leaving because everything was just shut down.
Ooh.
Just shut it down. Hilary Swank and Zach Morris shut that university down, all the Greekness and all the things.
Only they could.
And then I think the best part for Zach Morris was that at the end of it, they were doing a press conference and he says to the dean, so you're admitting to the hazing? And she's like, yes, and we are investigating it. And he's writing in his notepad. Just
he lives for that.
Yeah, I think they live happily ever after.
That was so good.
I would think that they move on. I would think they like eventually get married and have kids, and he's like a newscaster.
High five. Very nice.
It's a good movie.
It was good. That was a really good one.
I don't know.
But I will say, I don't mean to harp on it, but like if you're not Greek, you're not.
I just don't understand the fascination with it. And I
don't know.
I'm not putting it down in any way. I just
No, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand either, and we're really curious. Now, I do remember this guy, Joe, that I was friends with, who was in a fraternity, and apparently something about a paddle, like I was written my name on a paddle anyway, so a lot of guys showed up at my house asking me, what do you want me to do? We were living together. I think you were drunk at this time.
That.
This is when you were renting all the VHS tapes from Blockbuster in my name.
Again, I don't remember that either.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I like had him take out my garbage and stuff. Our garbage.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to do. They kept asking me to tell them to do stuff.
Our house was always clean.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
I wasn't versed in all this, and they just kept asking me, you have to tell me to do something. I'm like, okay, well then, clean the kitchen.
Maybe going Greek's not a bad thing.
Perhaps not. Maybe the Greeks will ultimately benefit. The real ones. The real Greek sisters.
Like the actual ones, yeah.
Will actually benefit from this whole thing people have happening.
If you're in our area and you're pledging and you need to clean some shit, I mean, give us an
we
email.
We totally have stuff for you to clean.
Email us. We have things.
Yeah, so we're open.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, listen, we will see you guys later. And remember, don't think so much.
It's not worth it.
It's not.